Ladies and gentlemen, a wind is a blowing through Sportswire Radio tonight. You know, everybody's thinking about what did Taylor Swift wear? Everybody's trying to figure out, did they have Peacock? Can they watch Chiefs and Dolphins? Forget about all of that because we literally have with us back home after nearly a 4-month absence the juggernaut of backyard wrestling who made his triumphant return at New Year's Evolution at the Alliance Wrestling League's first premium show of the year in 2024, and he returned with vengeance, as pun intended, to another show next weekend that'll certainly be on the air, as he won the new division championship, disposing of Seth Maverick, and certainly put everybody on the scene on notice. And we even saw him appear on Sportswire Radio in our live stream this past Monday with a man he was face-to-face with not too long ago in another champion, in the XCW New Age champion, the destructive Jack Delta. Our guest tonight doesn't think Mr. Delta's so destructive, especially after what Mr. Delta had to say about him. He's going to get his chance to respond and some. But since it's been 4 months and he's back home on Sportswire Radio and he is the kingpin of the Black Flag Army, it is time to give him that championship-like introduction that we have been missing to give him these past 4 months. So with that, without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, the Alliance Wrestling League New Division Champion, the kingpin of the Black Flag Army, the premier faction in all of wrestling. His name is ADT. The champ is here.
Man, I mean, I counted. That is impressive every time. But also, too, I mean, this belt's a little heavy. I mean, last time, it was said, wood belt. And
to my credit, when I did see the poster with you in the championship, when we spoke about it with Jack Delta, I was like, man, is that championship big, or am I seeing things? And I actually see it now at the post camp, and it really is bigger than I think any title I've ever seen.
It's huge. Honestly, out of all the championships I've held, this is one of the ones that, obviously, too, is one of the ones that is real. I mean, it's a real damn belt,
I think it's, I'd be honest with you, champ, and I'm going to certainly break the fourth wall for a second. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about AWL. We'll talk about a lot of the usual suspects here in Sportswire. I think in all my 5 years, I think that's the biggest belt I've ever seen, basically live on this platform. I got to be honest.
Me and Morgan, after we won at New Year's Evolution, the first thing we did is we looked at these side by side. We took a picture side by side, and we were just like, "Why the fuck is yours heavier and bigger than the heavyweight?"
I was gonna say, I think you got the bigger end of the bargain. Maybe you got the more bigger title, champ.
I mean, that's not for me to say, but again, thank you for extending your reach out to me again.
Of course, listen, we always had. I know we got off to a bumpy start the first time. The second time, I think I caught you right before I got maybe the worst sickness I've had in a decade. And it's a great time to have you back because you have been a big topic right now in the world of wrestling. And as you know, all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio. And I'm going to get to Mr. Delta in a little while. Certainly, we'll talk about him. But I want to talk about you making one of the biggest surprises. And you know what's interesting? Because we've spoke quite a bit, and everybody in the wrestling world is talking about Jack Delta and CJ Black. I'll get into that, but your return actually had far more views and had far more people look at it, over 1,000 views. That might be a clue for something in a little while. And you certainly had a return that took the world by surprise. And you came out there as that final participant in that gauntlet match. And that's how you're the new division champion. And so for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, talk about what it means to you, ADT, as the kingpin of the Black Flag Army, and what it means to be the AWL new division champion.
Well, you see, a lot of great men here recently have said, I mean, I can think of two right off the bat, but the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making the world believe that he did not exist, and that's exactly what I did. Okay? And not to knock any other people, but, there were some new faces in there, and with Cobalt, Victor Thorne, Twisted, AWL Original, who I have yet to run into. Who else? Travis Hunt, promising talent, and then
Travis Hunt,
the
I think,
anomaly.
you had guys that were pro wrestlers in there. I mean, you had like a really, really good
it's
core.
crazy how much the landscape has changed since my injury and the trip to ROEW. But Tilly, I hate to give him credit, but Tilly is making a very good roster, and he's trying to prevent the same old matchups. He's trying to make it unique, and I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, one thing I said when I started this, reign, I said it last week. I was like, I'm not going to be called a paper champion no more. It's the biggest disrespect.
I'll be straight up. As you know this, I'm going to certainly be straight up here for a second. There's a lot of companies. You can put the title down, whatever you want to do, but there's a lot of companies that come on the platform, and there are some companies that have legitimate, fantastic rosters. Certainly XCWs, DBWs. I want to give them a huge shout out. But this roster, since you first came on the platform, has come a long way. I mean, Victor Thorne's a pro wrestler. You literally had a pro wrestler trying to come in there and win that championship. I think that speaks volumes on how far this company and this platform has come.
Look, I mean, let's look at some facts here right now. As of right now, the Alliance has 3 professionally trained wrestlers. We have Cobalt, we have Victor Thorne, and we have AJ Morgan. And all 3 of them have brought something unique to the table. And, one of them being my brother in the Black Flag Army. I feel like if there's any time for the Alliance to be on top and to be making, waves in the way that we are, it's right now. Now, granted, nobody can get eyes on this fucking company like I can, but
you did. The first time you came on, you did make an impression how well dressed you were. I have to say, and I've had on RP.
I'm a trendsetter. You see how many people show up dressed to the nines on Sportswire now?
I was going to give you credit, actually, in the fact that I'm thinking about it. I mean, I had RPD on twice in the last 6 months, and I've had him on about 15 times in my entire career. And he's the first ever British boxer turned world champion. And he never dressed as good as you. And he's been in the ring with Anthony Ogogo. He's friends, a protege of this guy, William Regal. And he's like the #1 independent wrestler in the entire country of Britain and the United Kingdom. And you dressed better than him on here.
I try to be professional in every sense of the word. No matter what locker room I go to, no matter what show I go on to, I try to present myself as professionally as humanly possible. Just because I think if you set yourself up for success right out the jump, just with what you wear, the rest of it will play out the way you want it to.
Let me ask you, I will get to comments. We'll say hello to some people. I'll wish a happy new year, old new year, maybe everything else in between that. We'll get to that in a little while, but you got to feel like now really good with the Black Flag Army. You're back. AJ Morgan's got the world title. I mean, the war criminal Dylan Andrews. Dylan Andrews, let's give him a round of applause in a second, because I've had on Jimmy Controversy in the last few weeks, who was basically the guy in hardcore deathmatch wrestling. Mikey Anarchy beat him. Hardcore beat him. Obey, Mac 10. We've had all these hardcore deathmatch wrestling stars that are out there in Grimm's Toy Shop, XPW, UWF, Pro Wrestling Venom, TF Crew now, and yet here we are in the war criminal Dylan Andrews. What he did to Hacksaw Brown, I mean, he might be the most dangerous and deadlier and hardcore.
There's no might. There's no might.
No,
there is absolutely no might. Look, I don't mean to cut you off, but
sure.
Dylan Andrews, before he even walked out, because we walked by each other on the way for him to go into the yard and me
right
going out.
Came on after you. Yep,
yeah, so what I did. I looked at him. I was like, look, dude, this is your time. This is your time to make a name for yourself. There's no pressure. Tonight's all about just getting the damn job done. And that's what we as the Black Flag Army did at New Year's Evolution. The main thing that I wanted to get through his head is like, dude, you are a fucking war criminal, for crying out loud.
I know. We had him
They
twice
are
on
giving you
Sportzwire.
weapons. I mean, they are setting Hacksaw Brown up for failure right out of Jump Street because
And
they are handing
he had
you
the
weapons.
match won. What was Hacksaw Brown thinking? You want to talk about inexperience? He was a guy that had the war criminal Dylan Andrews down after putting him in thumbtacks and he was like standing around. What are you doing?
I think Hacksaw's a little bit of a sadist, and he likes to watch people have. I mean, I don't blame him. I've done just as much backyard rules matches or stipulation matches. Hell, I have the most stipulation matches in the alliance, and I personally I do like playing with the food every now and again. It's nice to just see what someone else is willing to do, and then to chop down their hopes and dreams like Dylan Andrews did. But name of the game is pinfalls.
Hey, listen, you know what? And the Black Flag Army reigns supreme, and you guys are one of the most deadliest and dangerous groups in this sport. Let me say hello to some people before I forget. Our champion is in the house, AJ Morgan, who
he didn't update his thing. What a nerd.
well, we're gonna pretend we never saw that and say hi to him. War criminal Dylan Andrews. I think Dylan Andrews was one of the more, if I look back on my interviews of 2023, was one of my more entertaining ones. I have to say, Dylan Andrews was
He's a personality.
Yeah,
he is a personality.
I have to say, Dylan, I will definitely get Dylan back on in the next few weeks. Obviously, we're happy to have you guys, and it's a great time to have you back. I want to say hello to my buddy Ron Franklin. Ron, good luck to your Packers tomorrow. And he puts the same post. Okay, well, thank you for that. I want to say hello to Jules NYC. It says good evening to us, and I think Jules is celebrating Happy New Year. Well, it's Old New Year for those in the Russian world. So I hope you have a happy Old New Year, Happy New Year. Everything else in between in a bag of chips. It is a bag of chips kind of night. Travis Hunt, definitely. Well, he was trash compared to you guys because he didn't win the title. And Ethan Sorensen with the usual questions. How you doing, Ethan? We'll get to those later. I want to say hello to the best ring announcer around in this sport. That is, of course, Trinity Parker from XCW Shelbyville. Good evening, fellas. I trust everyone is staying warm. Yeah, I'm definitely very happy I'm here rather than at Arrowhead Stadium or at Orchard Park on Thursday, Monday's game with the Bills, because I would certainly not want to be there. In fact, they were trying to pay people to sit in tonight's Bills, Chiefs, and Dolphins game, and people still didn't want to do it. So great stuff there. Thank you. And Jules and Ashley are saying hello to each other, a.k.a. Trinity. Nicholas Crenson, who I'm going to probably see tomorrow on the air for IMFWCE. Good day to you as well, sir. So obviously, let's talk about the Black Flag Army for a few minutes. We'll come back into some other things I want to ask you on since you've been back here after a 4-month absence on Sportswire Radio. But I mean, who is stopping you guys in the alliance?
No one.
Interesting because you got all these new guys coming in, these pro wrestlers. But I look at the three of you guys with the size, the strength, the gold, just everything you guys are doing here going into 2024. I don't see anybody stopping you guys. And tell me your thoughts.
Absolutely. No, there is no one in the alliance that can touch the Black Flag Army. The plan from day one obviously went a little south because of a wild card getting thrown in the mix. But
I'm gonna get to him. I'll get to him.
Black Flag Army has all the gold in the alliance, and that was the game plan from day one. If we can start there, I mean, we run the show. We run the show. There is no one who can step to us. There's no one that's going to stop us from doing what we want to do. I mean, people can try to step up, but we've seen how that has worked for other people in the past. And quite honestly, I don't know if anyone will even come up to getting to the plate. Like, they just might stay in the batter's box the entire damn time. But, if they're smart men, which I would like to think all of them except for, Seth Maverick, which we'll get
I'm going to get to him. That was my next question.
All of them, but, a few selective people. I would like to say that they're smart. So hopefully if they're that smart, they'll stay out of the damn way. Because if not, we're just going to keep running over people.
All right, let's talk about that. And I'm glad you segue into Seth Maverick. Here's a guy you beat. You were the final participant in the gauntlet match at New Year's Evolution. You win the title. Then we see in the open challenge that you had, you retain the title over Tyson Gates, and then we see Seth Maverick come out, and it turns out into a brouhaha, a Donnybrook, and you guys have been going back and forth a little bit on social media, and you've described him as kind of like this social media darling, this TikTok guy, and he's got a little bit of a fighting background as well. So tell me why Seth Maverick isn't going by what you just told us here, and basically everybody should just run and get out of your way. And what do you think here as to what Seth Maverick thinks as to why he could try to take that championship from you? I mean, I guess he is an anomaly, that's for sure.
It's blind confidence,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, you don't throw yourself into a position like that. I know what it is. I've tried to do it before many times in my career. Try to make a name for yourself. And the easiest way for someone to make a name for themselves in the alliance is to call out the three most important letters. They have to call out me. And, on one hand, I respect it. I understand. But on the other hand, you have seen what I've done. Now, I know we haven't had a lot of interactions because, as he was coming in, I kind of went to Detroit and got injured. And
Yeah.
then,
We'll come back to that.
that happened. There was a lot of stuff that happened. So, but Seth Maverick, tomorrow I got a lot more to talk about.
And certainly we want people to go, before we get into anything, I want people to go, especially on YouTube, to the Alliance Wrestling League YouTube page, where you can watch all of their past shows. Their most recent live premium show, New Year's Evolution, get this, ladies and gentlemen, had over 1,000 views. I remember first speaking about this promotion. It was a new up and started promotion. They were just getting their training wheels off, and look at where they are. They just recently not only surpassed 300 subscribers on YouTube, they blew past that. And by the time in a month from now, they might have 400, 500. They're going to be well on their way to being one of the premier companies if they aren't already. That's why you want to support them, especially on YouTube at Alliance Wrestling League, Facebook Alliance Wrestling. They're on Facebook now. Instagram, Alliance_Wrestling_League. And you're going to certainly want to follow the juggernaut of Backyard Wrestling, ADT on Instagram, ADT_is_Backyard Wrestling. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio. We've also unveiled our new logo because we're celebrating 5 years on Sportswire. Our 5th year anniversary is January 25th, and we put the new logo up. They're really inspired, actually, by XCW, because XCW had the XCW 20 logo, and we've kind of put the 5 years in the Sportswire logo. But I want to come back to Seth Maverick, because here's a guy that maybe he's not afraid of you guys because of his background. He's had a shoot fighting background. He's boxed. He's done Muay Thai. I mean, he's definitely mixed it up in there. Does that concern you? I know your background.
No.
I know Dylan. So talk to me why. Tell me why.
No, I mean, there is. I used to say that there's nothing more dangerous than a man who has nothing to lose, and that is Seth Maverick. He has absolutely fucking nothing to lose. I mean, one thing that he has proven to be the best at here is coming up short. And I've said that earlier this week. But Seth Maverick, as you said, very well versed in MMA, multiple disciplines. I was a state champion wrestler.
I know. I mentioned it. I've many times on Sports. You were amateur wrestler, power lifter. I mean, your background. I think I even said it in Mr. Delta spot on Monday. Your background is, to me, extremely unique compared to almost any yarder around. You're really, if I could, you're really not a yarder to me. From your background, I don't consider you a yarder.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm aware of what Seth Maverick can do. I've been watching. That's why I started so hot right out of the gate in that gauntlet match.
You did.
He shocked me with what he could take. He really did. But also at the same time, who was the one walking out of there with the championship? It was me. 82. So with Seth Maverick, I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about him in the slightest. There's nothing that he can do to me. There is absolutely fucking nothing that he can do to me to take this title off of me or even pose a legitimate threat to me. Like, I would say I'd put him on a t-shirt, but I'd be wasting fucking ink at that point. And we've all know that I'm willing to put other people on shirts. So
yes, you've definitely done that for sure. But when you have a guy like this, though, who has this background, he may not be so much concerned about even beating you. He may just want to prove a point And he may just want to go out there and say, you know what? All right, I realize what the Black Flag Army is. I realize what you are. I realize what Morgan is. I realize what Andrews is. I may just want to go up here and, improve a point. And if I can, certainly take you down a notch in whatever way you are just coming back from an injury, he might have an outside ulterior that could maybe in a way that could trip you up. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, and pigs can fucking fly too. But he cannot. There is nothing that he threatens me with. Even if he's trying to make a name for himself, show that there might be some sort of weakness. The only way that you can fucking weaken me is if you actually hurt me. But that's the thing. You have to get in that position to hurt me. And that's the thing. I was dumb when it came to Jason Storm, and I don't mean to segue from Seth Maverick to Jason Storm. I was dumb when I faced Jason Storm. I wanted to make it as respectable, giving him the credit that he deserves, because Jason Storm is a talent that is impressive only in the perspective of people who watch backyard wrestling.
You guys said leading up to the match that he was basically a D-lister.
Compared to fucking me, he is. Compared to me, he certainly is. Granted, he beat me, but also, Tom, how did he beat me? He kicked me in the nuts, first and foremost, after he already fractured my ankle, which kept me out for 6 weeks. So, really, did he win? Yes, 1, 2, 3, but also at the same time, he cheated. What kind of a man cheats? I don't fucking know, but he.
Well, I guess his job was he had to get the job done. He had to get a victory.
And I understand that more than anyone. I understand that. And just like how Seth Maverick had to make a name for himself, Jason Storm had to make a name for himself on the account of me.
You talked about the fact, and I'm not even talking about the injury for a second. Jason Storm, the wild card, hurt you because he took the prize that you said that you lived for. You loved that championship pretty much almost more than anything else. And he played with you and he hurt you. So I would have to think, though, Jason Storm has got a lot of problems to begin with currently with C Money, and we're going to see what happens there in that loser leaves town match. But Jason Storm, as again, compared to you, I definitely, you could see some of the points. He's a D-list wrestler or a D-list yarder, whatever you want to particularly call it. I'll say D-list wrestler. He may be that, but I'm sure that you're going to certainly remember how he hurt you, not just even from the match, but from taking away the prize that you had as the inaugural AWL heavyweight champion.
And you see, since we're talking about Seth Maverick, one of the first things I want to talk about after, we just talked about all that. Sure. Seth Maverick said that I wasn't the most impressive AWL heavyweight champion, which is mind-boggling. Like, I know he's new. I know he's green. I held the title for 120 days.
I was going to say, and you defended, I remember in the first two times we had you on, I think you had defended it more than we rattled off all the champions in the yard. I think it was 5 times in a 6-week span or something like that. And I think
and most of those were stipulation matches.
And we rattled off those champions at the time who are no longer champions in most cases. Craven Rage and WC. He defended the title once in a blue moon and against, you F-listers, not even D-listers, F-listers. Ledger Shade don't even exist anymore. We can go up and down the list of champions across this sport and have come on to Sportzwire Radio. And you, I would have to say, were the guy that defended your championship practically every week.
And that's the other thing too. Like, don't come onto social media and start bitching just because you want to make a name for yourself on my expense. It is in the history books. I beat Christopher James twice. I beat AJ Morgan 3 times. Sorry about it, buddy, but it's in the fucking book.
No, I think he's okay now because he's got a belt. I think he's fine.
And that's the thing too. I don't even care about the heavyweight championship. I am a champion. This makes sure that the heavyweight title stays in the Black Flag Army. This title around my shoulder. So until then, which is why immediately, hell, Tom, you're going to get the scoop right here. I'm defending the title tomorrow for an open challenge again.
Again? Did we just see you do that last week?
2 times since I've been holding this title, which has been 2 weeks. So a defense every week. I'm not going to sit here and be blatantly disrespected by someone who, I've held a title longer than he's been in this company. So I'm not going to take some shit from
All
someone
right,
who
but
has
let me
lost,
ask you,
lost, 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 and lost.
Champ, let me ask you. Let me
So
ask you a side point in this. So you broke the news here for those that are listening and watching on Sportzwire Radio and Alliance Wrestling League fans that tomorrow we'll see on the YouTube page you are going to defend this championship, another open challenge. But why do that if you're not contractually obligated to do so? Why
to prove a
give
damn point.
anybody? Okay,
Not
so
that I
tell me
really
why.
need to. Not
Okay.
that I really need to. It's because I want to. I was out for 6 weeks, and in that time I got stronger, I got faster. I found out a lot of more stuff I can do in the yard, and that's something that I want to bring to the table. This is a never-ending workhorse championship, okay? Being that it is the workhorse championship, it is within, like, morally, and I know my morals are meant for fuck all at this point, but morally, I cannot just sit there and have this title collecting dust. Okay? AJ Morgan had this title, went to Michigan, gave Jack fucking Delta a run for his money,
Oh, we're gonna get to Delta. I'm saving. I got
and
a
then
lot to say
AJ
on Delta.
Morgan also defended the title 2 more times, once against Victor Thorne, some guy who came from the independents
I was gonna say
to
pro wrestler.
fight
Yep.
him for this title. This title means something in its short-lived life. This title means something. Granted, the shortest reign was Christopher James, and somehow that played out pretty well for him. But I can't blame the damn dude.
And for the audience here, just think of this championship, the new division championship, almost like in a way how the WWE Intercontinental Championship is. Like it's the almost the championship for those that go out there and defend it, like a Gunther goes out there and defends the championship, goes out there and puts it on the line. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter when, and that's kind of that championship here. And that's why, again, people from all over the place want to crack at this championship. And I think it's certainly interesting to know. But again, I mean, obviously, I want to ask you before I do get to a few more comments from the guys in the Army. What did you learn, though, in the 6 weeks out? Because 6 weeks is a lifetime in this sport. What did you learn?
So I learned that things change very fast, and a lot of people
Yeah.
talk in that
We
6
do.
weeks.
We do.
And wrestling is nothing but a bunch of what's the flavor of the week? Flavor of the day.
We're a
Type
fast food
situation.
society in
Yeah,
wrestling.
it's very fast, and I
Snap,
saw
crackle,
that.
and pop.
I saw that. There was, like, in the case of the Alliance, there was a lot of new talent coming up,
Yep.
and I tried to, looking back, because I did keep up with the product while I was out, and I wanted to make sure that where do I fit in all this, and I mean, even though I'm at the fucking top, it doesn't matter. Like, you still have to be well aware of your surroundings. It's bad, it's bad business if you don't. Because if I didn't pay attention, I wouldn't have known how to attack Seth Maverick when I entered that match. I wouldn't have noticed that he has dropped the ball several times and that I could play that into my own personal advantage. I've learned, that everyone has evolved, into a completely different, it's a completely different business from when I got injured. It's almost night and day.
Listen, I'll even go further. I think first time we spoke was 6 months ago. You came on the show. I think that the yard and the sport of wrestling has changed. I don't even know what it was like 6 months ago compared to then and now. I think it's a totally. It's like
It
to me.
seems so far away, but yet it just happened. Like,
Exactly. That's exactly my thought. 6 months ago, it doesn't seem that long ago, but when you think about where we are in this sport, it's a lifetime ago.
oh, absolutely. And the things I realized about myself while I was injured is, like, first and foremost, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to, figure out the game plan from here on out. Like, do we underestimate anyone? Because unfortunately, that's what happened. I underestimated Jason Storm. I thought that he wasn't going to have the balls to do what he did. Because also, too, with all those shitty ass vignettes on ROEW about best friends, all this other bullshit, I just
So you
wanted
didn't
to.
like that stuff with CJ Black?
No, it wasn't that. It was just the fact that, like, I thought I smelled bullshit, because 9 times out of 10, the bullshit detector is not wrong. So I thought that Jason was just doing what he needed to make sure that he had someone in his corner. which makes sense because if you think about it, they became best friends and the dude started calling me out.
So you think that really, Jason, would he be a coward in the fact that he knew he had somebody that had his back?
I don't know what kind of man kicks a man in the balls to win a match. I don't know who would do such a damn thing like that. That's very cowardice, but that's besides the point. You know, I went into ROEW anniversary with a huge chip on my shoulder because I've been family with CJ, obviously.
Yep, we spoke
And
about it.
you know, I've always wanted to wrestle at ROEW because I thought at the time when we were children, that's all we would talk about is the sport of professional wrestling. And the opportunity to wrestle at ROEW, thank God for ROEW management actually allowing a merger between the Alliance and Ring of Extreme Wrestling.
And XCW, by the way, does a lot in the work with also in the past ROEW, IMF, and especially for Trinity. I mean, you know, Jackson Law, Captain Law, and ROEW, but we've seen XCW people, you know, Festus Davis, our senior official there, XCW also a part of ROEW. ROEW is a very unique place in that companies have actually.
It's a place that people want to go because of the reputation that it has for itself.
Correct.
And that's a weight that's on my shoulder because I looked at it as an opportunity to take eyes away from their product and put it on ours.
But you got it though. You got.
And I did. That's the thing. Even with me getting injured, I did it.
Do you feel disrespected by the wrestling verse? Do you feel disrespected in a way because
because I really don't give a shit. You know, I don't really give a shit if I'm disrespected by the backyard wrestling community. I don't care because honestly, other people's views on me don't win me championships. They just don't.
Well, to be fair, I mean, that is a question as we're here with ADT, the brand new AWO New Division Champion. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of All Wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, the man behind Sportzwire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And we are celebrating 5 years on Sportzwire Radio, and you can see for yourself on the banner. But, you know, is an interesting point because the last couple of months we've been talking about what matters, doing it for the fans or doing it for the championships, doing it for the women, doing it for the money, doing it for
I'll be honest, I do it simply for myself. The entire time I was out, Tom, for 12 years, when my career actually fainted from, you know, HCW 8 years ago, give or take, the only thing I could think of is what if. I mean, I became a collegiate wrestler, very well-established collegiate wrestler, became a very well-established power lifter, and just overall have adapted to a newer body. You know, I got bigger, I got stronger, I got faster. It's all well documented. Obviously, you know, being 11 years old in a sport like this, there's some muddy waters there. You know, there's only a handful. It seems like there's a lot of Austins that do it, but, you know, it's just a perspective on that part.
I know we spoke about that. It's really only a few people I know at your age. It was the Blaze, Ace Christian, VTW, DBW, and a guy I think I referenced in our first interview, 2-Bit in the UK. Now, I do have to get to somebody because they want to say something to you very quickly. And he's going to say sayonara, but I do want to bring him up. His name is the man that we spoke quite a bit about for a few minutes here, and he spoke a little bit about you on Monday's show, the destructive Jack Delta, man who works.
Self-destructive Jack Delta.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to plead the fifth on that because I think that's your opinion, but I'm going to give his opinion to you. Can't stick around for the full
Looks
live.
like Dale Dobrik from fucking Step Brothers.
So you don't like the hair? You don't like the hair look in that photo?
No, he needs to get a better suit.
Well, I can't comment on suits because I don't wear suits really. He also wants to let you know that underestimated, that's my favorite quote from people who can't get the job done. Now, I have to remind you, Jack Delta on Monday's show talked about the fact that ADTU needed Jack Delta to keep himself relevant, meaning you. You need Jack Delta to keep yourself relevant. So for him, it doesn't really make a difference if he wrestles you or not, you know, because he'll wrestle all people all over the world, all types of people, and, you know, he's been in all these different places.
He'll wrestle a piece of shits on fucking TBW, but he won't come down to Alabama to face me. I've already, you know...
Are you referencing any particular ex-TBW talent?
No,
that might be on this
but
platform?
you know, that's blurred lines, Tom. We'll leave that
I
up
know.
to
If we do that, I'll get shot.
We'll leave that up to interpretation. If people get mad, then those are the people that I'm referring to here, obviously. So, in that being said, though, underestimated can't get the job done, right? Jack had the opportunity to get the job done. I was in the corner of AJ Morgan. Yes. He tried to slap me. I did not flinch a fucking muscle, and I went right in his fucking face. And if it wasn't for Christopher James, he would not be fucking breathing right now. And we all know that. Everyone's hair on the back of their neck fucking stood up when me and Delta were facing off.
When you looked and glanced at him, it was different than certainly Delta and CJ. It's a different dynamic. I did feel when we saw in ROEW, you from outside the apron, him inside the ring, there was something a little different there in that moment.
I ain't even gonna lie. I love AJ to death. I wanted that match more. This isn't even a character, honestly. I wanted that match more. I felt like I earned that spot. You want to see the true top dogs against each other? It's me versus Delta.
So, I mean, where would you face him? I mean, he's an XCW right now. He's their New Age champion.
I know that he is signed to ROEW, and
Yeah.
I know that ROEW has a 2-show deal with the Alliance Wrestling.
Really? I didn't know that.
It has to take place here now. They have to come here. So whether he wants to admit it or not, I don't give a damn. ROEW management will tell his...
On Monday. Now, on Monday's comment, you said that he hadn't been in Alabama. He said he has wrestled in Alabama.
He hasn't been where it matters.
Okay, now that's a good point. I'm going to give you that much. AWL is definitely the place to be right now, and the views speak for it.
Show me another place in Alabama besides Alabama Trampoline Wrestling where people actually give a shit about them. And hell, we tried to reach out to them. They didn't want to work with us. So...
And yes, I agree with you on that. And I was gonna get to the views speak for itself. The viewership speaks for itself, no question. But let me ask you then: Delta is different than Christopher James. He's different than even AJ Morgan. I mean, do you feel like, in a way, that are you prepared for a Jack Delta?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a question. I'm saying that absolutely. Because
you are.
He didn't do anything to impress me. Morgan has only been wrestling for 6 months, Tom. 6 months he has been wrestling.
Yes,
and he held his own for 15 minutes against Delta.
But you had to see XCW Encounters episode 2, what Jack Delta did to Eric Mason, the Mason Express. This guy's got to be bigger than you even.
But he has half the fucking brain cells.
Well, that may or may not be so, because he is a farmer. I can't confirm or deny that. But Jack Delta, he goes up against guys like you all the time. He's had over 200 matches in his career. So tell me why. Tell me why you say that.
No. There is no one like me. There is no one. And anyone who actually watches Backyard Wrestling will understand that there's no one like ADT. I've been saying it since I was 9 years old. Maybe I didn't have the skill to prove it back then. But I guarantee you, I will walk any human being around a fucking yard and a ring. I will walk them like a dog. It's not a part of the song. It's not, the arf arf in the song. It is, I will beat whoever the fuck they put in front of me. That is the mindset that I have now.
You said something about Delta being out for 3 months, and you referenced, obviously, what happened where Delta had basically...
It pissed him off. It pissed him off because he knew I was right.
Now, I'm going to get to that because some people have had opinions on that. Others, they certainly haven't. My mind is I'm happy Jack's back, and I certainly look forward to seeing Jack and seeing him back here on Sportswire many more times. And I'm happy you're in the ring as well, and that's what counts most. But let me ask you, you referenced that, but would it be where you go in there and he comes to Alabama? Because you mentioned it. He's contractually obligated on behalf of ROEW to come to Alabama. Would this time, if you step in the ring with the destructive Jack Delta, that you're going to, as you quote unquote said, self-destruct Jack Delta to the point for a quote unquote permanent vacation?
I like to put people on the shelf. That's just kind of my whole mantra at this point. I have a tendency to bring out the thing that people don't think they have. Jason Storm, for instance, we never seen Jason Storm go low like that. We have never seen Jason Storm. It's uncharacteristic. I got Christopher James to start letting down his guard. That's a hard fucking thing to do.
I agree.
I beat the shit out of AJ Morgan for 9 weeks, and he is in arms with me at this point. I am the one that changes everything. Jack Delta has a match with me. It's not going to be good for him. It's not going to be good for him.
Is the old adage, if you can't beat him, join him?
Shit, he ain't joining us. Hell, he can barely stay in a company for longer than 2 months without getting hurt. So,
are you saying something in the fact that you don't?
I'm saying XCW should probably get that title off of him quick, have it fucking FedExed overnight, because God only knows at this point.
Well, I can't comment on that. That would be something between the powers that be there, and Mr. Delta will be in action on XCW TV, by the way, cheap plug, this Thursday against Jesse Justice for that New Age Championship. So I have a feeling Mr. Delta is going to be successful there in retaining that championship, but we're going to certainly hold the fourth. Hold that thought for a minute, because I want to get to some comments here. Hold that thought, because I'm going to ask you something else specifically. But also here, let me get to a lot more comments. Well said, boss. Let them try to stop us. Dylan Andrews, the champion of beer. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, brother. Nobody's beating you in those beers. You're damn right.
I could start a petition in the locker room to see if, we can get him a beer drinking championship.
Well, I'll air it on Sportswire if you want to air the tournament itself. I mean, we'll be happy to air it live on Sportswire.
Who the hell could we have against him? Anyways, Tom, I'm getting sidetracked.
Oh, James Taylor? Stone Cold?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if the knockoff's as good as the original, but we'd have to see.
There's a guy in TBW who's doing the Ric Flair thing.
That is fair.
Ledger Shade was doing Roman Reigns, and he went sayonara.
Reigns, Joker. I mean, fuck, dude.
Craven Reigns.
I don't want this to turn into a TBW hate cast.
No, we love TBW and Sportswire. They're actually the guys who are in my Hall of Fame, but I was talking about past tense names.
In the future, I would like to actually toss it up with some of those people.
There you go. But
especially this little dipshit, the Hardcore King. Fuck him.
Oh, I'm gonna get to him. You opened up a keg of worms. I'm gonna let you speak on that in a minute. But what I will say though is that past names, yes, we can certainly talk about them. But those that try to be knockoffs, Craven Rage and WC, that doesn't work. So the knockoffs may not be as good as the original. But let me get to some more comments here. Ethan wants to say, yes, we know about the dangers of wrestling, and we hope that nobody gets injured, but.
Yeah, I mean, I know I get a little hot-headed, and, sometimes I say some stuff that sometimes I mean, but sometimes I don't, and just heat of the moment shit, because I'm a very competitive person, as you know, Tom.
Of course,
after being injured, it kind of gave me a worldview on everything.
Sure.
But the thing is that after you get injured, it's kind of the other half of that is you have to make that comeback. You have to.
I think, listen, sometimes the comeback is the hardest thing to pull off. Guys can do it. Other guys don't. I think it's always, to me, impressive that those that come back and have even better runs the second time. Shawn Michaels, case in point, I think had a better run after he came back from the back injury. I mean, certainly look at Edge. I mean, Edge has come back and reinvented his career. He went to AEW, but I'm not getting into that. I'm here for AWL. Well, yes, we agree with Trinity. Also, you get injured in the back in the day with a chair. Yeah, everybody does get injured. Not speaking on behalf of a wrestling company, but when you see cross-promotional matches, it can either bring eyes to your name or trolls and shame. In this case, it's going to bring eyes. But the facts are is AWL got more views than ROEW at the last show. Just saying.
I mean, there could be an argument, too, because, let's not sell anyone short. I mean, to pull back the curtain, all of our guys, I think they're leaps and bounds better than most yarders today. I stand firmly on that. But also, too, there's no card like the New Year's Evolution card. There was no card leading up to that like that, and there will be no card to follow that except for, maybe our anniversary show. I don't know what the hell Gold Rush has.
Listen,
Gold Rush, we're having a ring now.
Whoa.
You didn't see that?
I did see that, but...
Yeah, Gold Rush, we're supposed to be in a ring, Tom.
So wait. For the audience out there...
I saw the invoice. Tilly let me see the invoice. It is a 16 by 16 wrestling ring.
So you mean to tell me, if to everything I've seen you do in the AWL in the last 6 months, that we're going to put you in a ring?
We're going to confine people to stay in the same space as me.
So my point might be then, should Mr. Delta consider making that trip to Alabama if you're going to be in a ring? I mean...
Here's the thing. Ever since I first talked to you, yes, there has been nothing but comments about our championship titles, which at the time it was like, look, we have titles. It doesn't matter if they're
Huh.
homemade or not. Just to go ahead and air out that dirty laundry. It doesn't matter, what the title is made of. It's the person who's holding that fucking title. Okay? Then we get new titles. What's the next thing that they can pick on? Oh, well, they don't have a ring still. Okay. Tilly ordered us a fucking ring because we got 1,000 views in less than 2 weeks on a damn mat. We have 14 people in our roster. There is no reason. I thought personally we were going to get one a lot later in the run.
I'll be honest.
Tilly dropped that one on us last week at the meeting.
Listen, I'll be straight up. When I heard about the rumor about you guys getting in the ring, I was like, I thought this was going to be totally fair. I thought you would have got a ring next year at this time. To have a ring
and I
now,
think what it was too is upper management, Tilly, Sky Felton, owner.
Yep.
They saw what we could do when we went to ROEW.
No, you guys held your own. No.
Granted, you're looking at people who's had upwards to a year of in-ring experience. Upwards, I say, very loosely. But upwards to a year ring experience versus people who, it was my first time in a ring.
And they benefited also in the fact that they had veterans like Jackson Law was in there. They had Festus Davis walk through it in the scene.
It's not like they were facing no names. They were facing well-established names.
Jack Delta,
and that's one thing that I can commend ROEW for. The whole business model that ROEW management has is anyone, everyone, if you have some sort of experience, you're in. As long as you make that long-ass fucking drive to shitty little Detroit, Michigan. I'm so glad I moved to Panama City Beach. That was such a great move. After being in Detroit, I've never felt more unsafe in my fucking life. Terrible city.
Well, I mean, those things I'm going to certainly plead the fifth on because I am rooting for the Lions on Monday night, but that's certainly something I should say, but I will certainly take that back. But obviously, speaking of people here that do want to say hello in their own way, your cousin, who's also a champion, who defeated Jack Delta.
I know, it's so great. It runs in the family, doesn't it?
I'm curious. Do you need to ask him for any advice on Mr. Delta?
No, I watched all 34 minutes of it.
Yeah, it was about 33, 56 or something like that, right?
Yep. I know exactly. I've watched it. I'm doing my homework, Tom.
We never doubted that. So no advice. You don't need to ask your cousin.
No, I don't need no fucking advice. He could barely fucking beat Jason Storm.
I actually have a question from the war criminal, Dylan Andrews. Who is ROEW management, though?
Nobody fucking knows. Hell, even the people that fucking wrestle for him don't know. They have a computer that just sends random emails.
You stole the word. It reminds me. Remember the Raw anonymous general manager Michael Cole would say, "I have a message. Whatever it was. I have an announcement."
I think one of them used to be Mike Zubek. I think that's what one of them used to be. I'm not sure though.
Maybe I should have asked Delta that question on Monday's show. I don't know why I didn't do that.
I don't know.
I could have had Laura.
That's a huge mystery because all I know is that the cash checked and the check cashed and I was there.
Well, you were happy you actually got the payment.
Oh yeah, shit.
But
you don't get me without paying me. So.
But I think it's a good time for me while I have more people and a good amount of people here to actually, we've been talking a lot about the Alliance Wrestling League, right? ADT, and we've been talking a lot about the fact that you guys actually got over 1,000 views. Congratulations on that. Certainly an amazing achievement. I think about when the first time we spoke and to where the company is now. We got this ring we're going to be looking at soon. You got pro wrestlers here. You got thousands of views, hundreds of subscribers on YouTube. We thought we would do something a little special on behalf of the Alliance Wrestling League. And certainly maybe you would be a part of this accomplishment if you would ever be, so willing to accept, especially here on behalf of all sports.
You mean I love getting awards. I got Best Wrestler of the Year right here for 2023. Yeah. I got, what's this one? Match of the Year for 2023. And, I also got Feud of the Year for 2023.
Well, I think this one might actually look...
I love awards, Tom.
I know you do. And I think this one, though, you might actually want to, I don't know, maybe keep around and maybe look at as kind of an important moment here in not only your career, but the history of the AWL, especially for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Congratulations to everybody in the Alliance Wrestling League because we have declared it here on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station, where all wrestling matters here, as your host, the Reverend Tom Bryce, that on this day, January the 13th, 2024, it is now recognized on all Sportswire radio platforms to be Alliance Wrestling League Day. Congratulations.
Well, I think I can speak on behalf of everyone. I feel like I'm in that position as the kingpin. But, thank you. I mean, honestly, it means the world. And just to cut the shit for a second, it means the world that we grew that quick. I mean, hell, I was looking at the numbers almost every day. Do I think it's because of the entire roster? I think it's mainly because of the Black Flag Army. But, New Year's Evolution was really it was a very successful show, and I feel like it put us on pace for a great 2024. And, with the announcement of getting a ring here for Gold Rush, our next premium show, I think it only goes up from here. Now, who knows what the hell Tilly does in the meantime? Who knows what anyone does, especially with me doing all these fucking open challenges. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't know what can happen.
I still don't know why you're doing one when you're not contractually.
Because I'm not threatened by anyone. There's no one who poses a legitimate threat to me or this title. It's that simple. But on behalf of the Alliance Wrestling League roster, I really appreciate it.
I had another question. Obviously, you came on in our comments on Monday's show, right? We were talking a lot about Jack Delta. We gave Jack Delta this thunderous ovation. We talked about Jack Delta and everything he's done for the yard. He's done and being everything about all wrestling matters. And we gave him his own day. Now, we obviously, I think, in a way, gave you some of your flowers here and also gave you a little bit of your own thunder here and given it Alliance Wrestling League Day on all platforms. Now, I'm sure you're aware of that Mr. Delta is actually in a Hall of Fame already outside of Sportswire Radios. And since in a short amount of time, ADT, you have shown yourself to be this kingpin of the Black Flag Army. You've been this juggernaut of backyard wrestling. You were the AWL inaugural champion. You're the new division champion currently. And I was wondering, I guess since I should probably ask the question and probably put you on the spot, because I actually didn't ask Mr. Delta this question because he got his own day and he's already been in a Hall of Fame. I was actually wondering, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station where all wrestling matters, and for all fans of the Black Flag Army and the Alliance Wrestling League, you, ADT, would you like to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio's Hall of Fame?
Holy shit. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. Sportswire has been a good platform for me to get our names out there.
You're home. At this point, I almost have to induct you because
coming back home. I'm not gonna say I was offended when I gave you one of the best interviews you had in 2023. I'm not gonna say I was offended because I wasn't one of the first round picks, but I understand.
You're in the second.
Hey, it doesn't matter how you get in there, baby. It only matters that you got in there.
Listen, the British Bulldog took him 20 years to get in. People don't remember that. I mean, listen, there's a lot of people in wrestling history.
I'd be honored to be in there, Tom.
You would be all right. Well, you know what? Maybe we can make that happen at some point in the next month. We can actually give you your moment here and induct you into the Sportswire Radio. You were right. You were one of the more memorable interviews in 2023. I don't know if you'll be the #1 in 2024. We did, with all due respect, we just had on the head coach of the United States of America women's amputee soccer team, Paige Palazzolo. But you could come second. I mean, that's she's doing something in the world. That's a big thing. But second, I hope you would settle for that.
Well, no.
I hear you on that, but maybe you would certainly want to accept, and you could have something.
If you are willing to extend that Hall of Fame induction for me, I would gladly accept.
Well, you know what? Consider it done because you'll certainly be in the Hall of Fame, and we look forward to actually making you the first person from the Alliance Wrestling League to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. I don't know if you'd be the last. We have. Listen, you have some guys in the Black Flag Army that I think we could be candidates.
Okay. I feel like we haven't given the Black Flag. I mean, we've given Andrews a good hype up, with his Alabama Street Fight. That's something that I want to do again. But with his backyard rules match, I feel like we've given him a lot of flowers. AJ Morgan has been nothing more than impressive
He's
in
come a
these
long
past.
way since the first time I
We
spoke with
have
him.
saw him go from oh God. He had that terrible fucking match with, fuck, what was his name? I don't remember because he was only there for a fucking week. The big fuck, the country fuck, the guy that probably Jack Delta would lose to. But, he had a match against him and, barely knew how to hold his own. He about got choked the fuck out, somehow won. To now, he's able to hold his own against anybody.
He's a world. Hey, you know what? You're a world champion in this sport. To be a world heavyweight champion, he's done that, like you said. He gave Jack Delta a run for his money. I mean, this is Jack Delta. Jack Delta, the man that's been in 200 matches, the man that's wrestled in 27 promotions, the man that's been in 8 states, the man that's won 27 championships, 23 promotions. He's the man's done it all, and he held it. He was right there with him.
Absolutely. And there was a couple times, where even me, normally I'm talking shit if I'm a manager. I'm talking so much shit. But
I wasn't used to you like that, by the way.
Honestly,
I wasn't
Tom,
used to you like that. Yep.
I was watching that match very intensively because, I mean, it was one of the better matches I have seen in backyard wrestling, especially up close. But also, too, I was noticing that there was hiccups that Jack Delta was making that normally a veteran would pick up on. Morgan was picking up on it like it was nothing.
I mean, I don't know if it was because he had a lot on his mind returning to XCW. I don't know if the CJ situation had taken
Maybe it's
a
because he
toll
was
on
used
him.
to wrestling the same 4 people in ROEW for a year and a half.
I'm saying no comment on that because I'm going to plead the fifth. I've learned a little bit when I did my shot on all the British politics and wrestling there.
That was a great night. That was a great night.
I still get messages from people that say, I really enjoyed that. Can you do that more often? I'm like, okay, well,
it was because it was real, Tom. People can tell when it's real versus, a facade. And I think a lot of people realize that with me. And
yeah,
that's where it carries over.
And I think with what you have said, and I'll get to the comments in a second, and to come back to Delta, maybe this is the match that it's almost like kind of mano a mano, man to man. CJ and Jack was a phenomenal match. People go to the ROEW backyard wrestling match. Go check it out. Mason and Delta, it was a good match, but I don't think anybody really thought the ramifications of it at that moment. But if you think about it today, right, in 2024, we talk about all these different backyard wrestling companies, with the exception of a guy, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is in VTW. He's a pro wrestler. Aaron Jones would be the only other guy that I think, like you, could go mano a mano, toe to toe with Jack Delta and say, you know what? They're not going to be fazed by Jack Delta. They're not going to be starstruck by his career and how many places he's been and how many views he's gotten and that look and the Gargano lock and everything he does in there, the Delta driver, all that different stuff that he does. You might be right now currently that guy that's not going to be intimidated, not going to be starstruck. And if anything, based on what you've done, you might be the guy physically that might have that advantage pound for pound.
I certainly think so. But here's the thing, though. We know his track record, so am I going to have to wait for a year and 3 schedule attempts like my cousin had to? Am I going to have to wait that long? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you'll make the fans care about it, but I mean, hell, if you're gone so long, people will forget about you.
Well, now,
it doesn't matter about your accolades. If you're gone, I mean, hell, look at Ledger's Shade, for fuck's sake, even though, we don't care about him. But held the damn belts for 500 days. He's gone. Nobody gives a shit about him. Next, hey, get the fucking Gage Flair dude in here. It's sayonara. I mean, and
I'll solve the problem for you. So, if management in AWL and ROEW can't figure it out on, how to put this match together, maybe this will help. I think maybe this could help a little bit, right? We could certainly find a way, to make that match happen. if it's real, it's not monopoly money. I'm sure we could certainly work things out between both camps to make a fair match where the people, the fans of this sport, where all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio, to give the people what they want. If you want to go out there and see it, if it's in Alabama, if it's in the AWL, even if it's not for a title, don't even put the titles up. Don't even put up the XCW
I'll put this title on. I'll put this title on the fucking line.
But if you want to, listen, if you want to.
No, you can get this right here live. Like, if Jack really wants to, he will make that drive down here, or flight, whichever one, and he will come down here. I will put this title on the line. I've showed everyone, as soon as I won this title, I don't give a shit who steps up. I'll put it on the line. I have nothing to lose. This title, if it's gone, which it won't, but if this title wasn't here, it'd be the same mindset. We just got this title not too long ago, as far as, introducing the new division. And I mean, it's just an accessory at the end of the day. So if he wants to add another title to his extensive, impressive resume, stop being a pussy. Come down to Alabama.
Do you think then really he needs you more than you need him at this point? Is that fair for me to ask the other way? I don't think
either. Like, to be honest, I don't think either of us need each other.
Yeah.
I've proven that I can be a star without him. And hell, I made
you
someone
got 1,000 views. You know what? You got 1,000 views. So yeah, you know what? I'll call a spade a spade. We got 1,000 views.
We started blowing up without having to invite other people from the outside in. It's all organically made. I have fought Christopher James, AJ Morgan, Tyson Gates, and now I got this little prick in my side, the Anomaly, and then whoever the fuck shows up tomorrow, they're all homegrown names.
Now let me run through comments before we get through the last remaining minutes here, as we are here with the kingpin of the Black Flag Army. He is the Alliance Wrestling League's new division champion. His name is ADT, and we are, for those that are listening and watching that have just tuned in, we are recognizing here on today all platforms of Sportswire Radio, January the 13th, 2024, that it is Alliance Wrestling League Day, for them achieving the milestone of 1,000 views on their last premium show, New Year's Evolution. Congratulations to everybody involved in making that happen. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and before I get to something else I want to ask you, there's one more name you brought up that I have to mention. I will get to a ton of more comments here. These backyard wrestlers put their lives on the line. Yes, they certainly do. And certainly Dylan Andrews definitely did that against Hacksaw Brown. Mikey Anarchy, Obey, Hardcore.
I feel like I was stimped on that shit. Like, my Backyard Rules match, the budget was so fucking low for it. Tilly couldn't even hash out. I got one fucking table. I had to get creative. I threw Christopher James.
I guess if I was running the AWL, our budget would be like Vince McMahon's. We'd probably be on TV by now with my budget.
Oh, fuck. Well, I think Sky Felton needs to do a little bit better recruiting instead of just playing all-friends wrestling.
I'll leave that to another time. Who is ROEW management, though? Yeah, that's been the big question throughout the past year. How you doing, Skulls? I hope you're recovering well. He just recovered from a car accident, though.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Let's give him his, he's doing well. He just
had a birthday. I hope everything's okay then.
Okay, good to know. It was funny the way you segue. ROEW management is the direct deposit that hits my account every Friday.
That's a man who understands it doesn't matter how he gets there. Oh, shit, breaking my set. Fucking, as long as the check fucking cashes, that is all that matters.
He's the champion. You know what? You can't argue with the champion, whatever you
think. What? Damn, I didn't know that, Dylan. Damn. That's why he wasn't drinking for a couple weeks. Damn.
Let's move off the dangerous match stuff, as I want to get to something else.
Okay.
I think Alex Cross got paid double. Sounds like you should take it up with him wherever he's hiding. Thumbs up. Let's go. And Dylan Andrews, yes, I did say that you will be in the Hall of Fame at some point. Let's induct ADT first, and then we'll get more people. I promise you that I'll induct you in. And yes, definitely ADT deserves this. He was one of the more memorable people. I want to say one more thing before I segue onto a hardcore king of this platform. Wink, wink.
Is he in here?
No, he's not here, but I want to. Okay,
wow.
but I want to at least ask you about him.
Okay.
I do want to say though that ADT, and I said this then the first time he came on the platform 6 months ago, he is one of the guys you're going to look at in a long time from now and say, this guy is going to be a guy I'm going to remember a long time from now when it comes to what he does in the ring, his size, his strength, his power, his agility, all those different things that you see from this guy. It's very unique. And that's why, in a short amount of time, he earned being a Hall of Famer. Again, the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the description of it is, for the 5 years that we've been in existence, as of January the 25th, we have basically collected this pool. It's certainly a big committee of those who select the Hall of Fame, wink, wink, that have gone over some of the more memorable guests, the most successful guests in the platform's history, whether we're on Sportnarium, SoundCloud, Sports Report, whatever it might be. And that's why ADT, in his 6 months, he has become one of the more successful and memorable names, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer. The Hall of Fame doesn't have to be years and how you've done it. It's what you've accomplished, and he's definitely earned those things. But, you did mention a name, and I guess I wanted to ask you for fun before I get to closing thoughts. This guy that we've called the hardcore king now, the Atomic Titan, he says everybody should respect him, and, we certainly respect him here. He seemed like
a man who has to demand respect doesn't get respect.
I thought you guys were all right, though, on Monday's show, because you guys seem to see eye to eye on Jack Delta, though.
I think we both can agree on certain things, which is, Jack Delta being a bitch. But, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of intelligence come out of TBW, but, he might be up there with his comments on Mr. Delta.
One thing before I get to that. To clarify on CJ, the Atomic Titan's technically not in the Hall of Fame yet. He actually just is the hardcore king of Sportswire Radio. So I want to say, technically, he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. And neither is Jack Delta. He got his own day because he's already actually in the Hall of Fame. But so Atomic Titan, you're not impressed about him being the hardcore king of Sportswire Radio. If he ever wanted to step into Alabama, you don't think he would last?
Get stomped the fuck out. Have you seen what I've done in my matches?
Well, how about Dylan Andrews?
I broke a kendo stick over my fucking former best friend's back. I threw him through a fucking table. I threw him through a damn wall.
So Dylan Andrews, what he did to Hacksaw Brown, you think if they had a hardcore match?
I think that I don't want to say we're transitioning into a death match style of wrestling, but goddamn, they are fun to do. They are fun to do. Because Andrews came to the back after, his match, and he was like, damn, we should do a lot more of those. We should find a way to con Tillian to doing more of those. And I was like, but I always have the better chance out of all of those, though, because you give me weapons. What the fuck?
I feel like
who signs up for that?
Well, you actually might kill someone. So, but if you ever did obviously want to go that route, there's a couple guys we know on the platform that might be interested, but we'll leave that aside. And so obviously Atomic Titan, we'll see maybe one day, but you have some agreements, but obviously he's got his own things to worry about.
If he ever stepped in a ring with me, it'd be a rough day at the office for him.
Well, you know what? Listen, obviously you got your own issues right now. He's got his own issues right now. We'll certainly leave that.
First issue is that ugly ass title. That thing is fucking ugly. I'm sorry. I got to get it out there. It's fucking ugly.
You don't like it? Why not?
Oh, it is ugly.
I like it a little bit.
I think I put tinfoil on a fucking leather belt that I wear to work would look better than that. It's fucking god-awful.
I don't know. I do like the title. I would say it's better than some other titles I've had come on the platform recently.
TVW is very hit or miss with it. I'm giving TVW too much time on my platform.
Okay, so let's talk about your platform for the remaining 15 minutes. First is, let's go with the obvious. What are your goals in 2024?
Dominance, absolute dominance. I plan on holding this new division title as long as I choose to, because as we spoke about earlier, there is a gold standard with this in the sense of it's a workhorse championship, but also if I ever wanted to, this can ensure me a heavyweight championship match at my discretion. At my discretion. Now, granted, I told Morgan it is his time. I meant that. We have seen this title has gotten traded in as early as the same fucking week as it got won. Christopher James used this title to get a championship match with me a week after he did it. Didn't defend it, didn't do nothing. Didn't take it anywhere. No exposure for the title. AJ Morgan, he wore the belt when he was holding his own against Jack Delta. Damn near beat him. He faced Victor Thorne
Another pro wrestler. Yep.
and Seth Maverick. He beat the shit out of.
Another fighter.
And fuck, who else? Hacksaw Brown, I think, too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I want to say that wasn't Cole about it. I think it was Hacksaw Brown, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
So point here is like I plan to make this title one of the titles in backyard wrestling, and a goal for me personally is to have this title main event one of our premium shows.
All right, that's
Not to water down what the heavyweight championship is. That is a title that is near and dear to my heart. I held it for 120 days, and I had the craziest matches with it.
17 weeks. 17 weeks in one day.
Yeah. So, damn, that's good math. But anyways,
I won a math bee in the 5th grade. For what it's worth, I did win a math bee. I remember.
good
that
old
so
multiplication and division tables. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
I was good at that stuff, and it helped me later on in accounting and in
Hell
economics.
yeah.
So it helped me.
But as I was
Put the
saying,
money on the
I
screen.
want to make this title one of the more important titles in all of backyard wrestling. I want to main event a show because I still think highly of Morgan and the heavyweight title. I do think that this title deserves to be defended in a main event eventually. Because hell, as far as week to week, I'm there. I've been there.
Hey,
And
listen, you have been the workhorse champion. There's no question. When I think about whatever,
I've
run
hit the
you
ground
had-
running. Let's just be honest. I hit the ground running with this title.
No, listen. I think that there are other wrestlers. Well, I'm the backyard nightmare. I'm the ruler of the yard. No, you have been. You know what? Bring it on, and I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna knock your socks off and rip you out of your shoes. And you've done that, and I could certainly see why those goals are worthy. Give me 1 or 2 reasons why someone who might want to answer that open challenge tomorrow shouldn't.
First and foremost, it's fucking me. Like, why would you want to do that to yourself? Why would you want to do that to yourself? You've seen what I've done to people who are near and dear to me. Why would you want that? Especially if you're a stranger too. If you're one of these newcomers, that are looking to make a name for yourself, whether you're a Seth Maverick, whether you're a Cobalt, whether you're a Victor Thorne, even though that those last 2 names have experience in a ring,
Right.
why would you want to go up against the guy?
Especially if
The
you're
guy.
pros, maybe you want to go back pro. Getting beat down and almost, losing your limbs ain't gonna help you go back to the pros.
No. So, I just it's there for the taking, but no one's taking this. No one is taking this. You will have to kill me in that yard to take this damn title off of me. You will have to go to length. You will have to find something inside of yourself that you did not know to take this off of me. And quite honestly, I don't see anyone in this roster that has the ability to tap into something like that to take this title off of me. It's not happening.
And I think that that's why people need to go to the YouTube page of the Alliance Wrestling to check out tomorrow's open challenge with the kingpin of the Black Flag Army, ADT, as he puts on that new division championship on the line in an open challenge match. Alliance Wrestling League on YouTube. Check them out. Especially also follow ADT on Instagram. Check him out. You will not want to, I'm sure, after what he could do in the ring, you will not want to not follow him. ADT _ BYW. Also, Alliance _ Wrestling _ League on Instagram, Facebook. They're also on the Alliance Wrestling League. Go out and support them. This is a company that we certainly want to see a lot for. But before we get to closing thoughts, it apparently looks like, maybe speaking of contractually obligations, there's a back and forth between your colleague in the Black Flag Army and your cousin, the ROEW World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. CJ Black, because AJ Morgan is so good at wrestling, is what I would say if he was actually good at wrestling. And then Mr. Morgan says, CJ, you want to see how good I am? I'll fight you any damn time you show up, put up, or show up. Once Hillbilly Tilly pays for my flight, hotel, limo, and food, consider your arm snap, kid. So I guess not going to happen, maybe. Too bad.
Hillbilly, with the expenses that he's been spending for the show, with the titles, the ring,
it's hard.
Hell the stage, we'll here's the thing though, especially since we found out that one of the checks bounced from RAW here recently, we gotta
maybe you'll have to settle.
We drove 11 hours, so honestly, and it was one of those things, you show up, you get paid. So we drove 11 hours. So if that other half doesn't take
You know,
place, does it? Let me ask you a question. If
ask me 100
we
questions.
showed up to their show, their
Mhm.
anniversary show, gave them more views too, with our names attached to their show, and they don't show up to any of our stuff, who's the better show? Who's the
I
better show? I mean, not to talk shit about ROEW. I respect everything. I said earlier that going to ROEW was always a dream of mine. It was, but wasn't the match I wanted to have. It wasn't the person that I wanted to be facing. It was not even within the top 3 of the people that I wanted to wrestle. I got put there, and unfortunately, Jason Storm put himself in a position that he wanted. That he wanted. He knew he was on a downward spiral once he lost that damn title. How do you get relevant? How has anyone in the Alliance Wrestling League got relevant? 3 letters. ADT.
I mean, I was gonna say that, but listen, I think those are some really fair points. There's no question that Dylan Andrews stole my line that he'll get Jacob Collins instead.
Fuck.
Although to be fair, Jacob Collins beat the man that won the most awards at the XCW Viewers Choice Awards and was their former world champion for the last, I think, for 3 months before ACT took
Sounds
it.
like that dude had a real bad off day.
It was definitely a surprise. Brady Branson, if you've seen Brady Branson in the ring, you would definitely say that. He's like, Jacob Collins beat Brady Branson, and was like, yeah, he beat him, so it does happen there.
You ain't heard?
And
Jacob
CJ1,
Collins in the building.
interesting. Our other full shows have over 1K views. Your faces are on the poster, and it doesn't hit the mark.
Ooh. Also, look how long those videos were out. I mean, hell, Weekend Warfare took about 3 months to hit 1,000. Meltdown, hell, you had Jason Storm and JX, a dude who's not really from your company, on the poster,
Ohio,
and that
yeah.
took a while.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, and you have Jack Delta on a poster with you, and still that hasn't hit 1,000 views. So,
you know what? I mean, obviously, that'll be a question I'm sure people will want to ask, and that's really a good point as well. That's why we're going to induct ADT in to the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame next month. That's why he's going to be here and take his place in history, and we look forward to having him in there. Also, one more time before closing thoughts, it is now on all Sportswire Radio platforms this day, January the 13th, 2024, Alliance Wrestling League Day, for reaching 1,000 views on their most recent premium show, New Year's Evolution, and congratulations to the entire company on hitting this milestone. We will also have more coverage coming up on Alliance Wrestling League throughout. You can check out their show tomorrow with ADT's Open Challenge, where anybody may answer. Maybe my advice would be don't answer it, but that's obviously up to you to decide. Certainly, we'll look forward to the future of the league. You can follow them on all their platforms. My friend, I want to give you the floor now, give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you may want to plug, share, or say? And the floor is yours, and good to have you back home.
I appreciate it. So, to double down on, the open challenge tomorrow, I just want to forewarn everyone that's in the roster that's listening to this. Friendly reminder, AWL does not have fucking health insurance. Don't be stupid. Okay? We also don't have life
doesn't
insurance.
even have it. You ain't getting it here.
Don't do it. Okay? Just don't do it. It's a bad day in the office for anyone. It'd be way easier if everyone just kind of went home for the day, let me cut a promo, call it a fucking day. Okay? Either way, it will rack in views. It has been shown. So, that being said, if someone is stupid enough to answer that, I think the last title defense that I did against Tyson Gates, a person who I really fucking hate.
I know you said that here. Yes, you did not like him.
So, he's one of the reasons why I have a 1 in the, or why I have a loss on my record. Granted, he needed Christopher James. There seems to be a fucking reoccurrence here with Christopher James and losses. But, if I treated someone like Tyson Gates, who spit in the face of this company on numerous occasions and then also had to cheat to win against me with that much respect, just know that even with me having Morgan as the special referee, I was fighting completely clean. I want it fair. I want it square. I mean, no fast count, no nothing. I told Morgan no bullshit. So hopefully Tilly finds a referee tomorrow. Hopefully some unfortunate soul decides to try to make a name for themselves. I get paid to beat their ass, and that's the end of the day. Great day. Great day. So, also, too, since we're on closing thoughts, if you haven't, which chances are you probably have, go watch New Year's Evolution. Over 1,000 views. See the return of me. You see Dylan Andrews beat the shit out of Hacksaw Brown. You see AJ Morgan finally claim the heavyweight title. It's a great day to be in the Black Flag Army. Great day. And we are only just starting. Hell, the new division, we never thought when Tilly first came in that there would be anything more than the AWL Heavyweight Championship. That was the be-all, end-all.
Yep.
We get production meetings every week. We get meetings with the boss, with the owner, every week. They sprung the news on us about a ring. They sprung news on us about a potential tag division somewhere down the line. Gold Rush. I don't even know what the fuck a Gold Rush is, but apparently that's a title shot for someone. Who knows? Talking about live shows. There is so much that Tilly does not allow us to say or talk about, but the Alliance Wrestling League is making moves that nobody had faith in us 6 months ago to do. Nobody.
So I think it's 100% accurate, but you know what? Anything is possible. That's why you want to join the Alliance Wrestling League. Support them now. Get in while the gold is still about to rush, and you'll get a piece of the action by watching them coming up tomorrow with ADT's open challenge for that new division title. And certainly, please follow them on all these great platforms. Greatest ref. Screw that Tristan guy.
Yeah.
He might be a great referee.
Great ref.
He might
Great
be
ref.
a better wrestler right now because he's the world heavyweight champion. So obviously, shout out to him. And one more time, congratulations to the company on all of their success. And I'm looking forward to you, my friend, bringing you on next month and taking your place in history here in our Sportswire Radio's Hall of Fame. And good to have you back home. Can't wait to do it again next month. Can't wait to see what the future of the company is. I think next time it'll be 2,000 views and 3,000 views and 4,000 views. It only gets better from here.
As long as it has more than CJ and Delta, that's all I give a shit about.
Well, you know what? So far, you got the upper hand. We'll have to see what time may bring. But until then, I can't wait to watch you guys tomorrow. And I can't wait to see the future in you to take your place in our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame's history next month.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the juggernaut of the backyard wrestling world. He is also the reigning, defending AWL new division champion. He is the leader of the Black Flag Army. He is their kingpin. He is Mr. ADT, and he was here to talk about winning that championship in a gauntlet match and his surprise return at New Year's Evolution, defeating Seth Maverick. He also retained his championship last week in an open challenge. He's having another one tomorrow afternoon. Go to the Alliance Wrestling League YouTube page for more information. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station. I'll be back here in a little over an hour with Coach Chris Craven. He'll be taking his place in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame's history. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and congratulations to everybody in the AWL for what they've done here in growing this company. A rising tide will always lift all boats, and this company is definitely that example. I'll see everybody in a little while, and thank you to the AWL verse and all the wrestling fans out there that continue to show us why all wrestling matters on Sportswire.